Hi everyone, happy Monday. I just wanted to give some quick feedback on the voice threads from last week and do a quick intro to this week. Research questions are absolutely challenging. I think it's helpful to know that even though you do need a good question to guide you on your way to start your study, they aren't always set in stone, and that you can change them as you do your analysis and as your thinking on the subject changed. I think that was really highlighted in the article on pilot studies, that actually doing the pilot study itself changed the way the author thought about what it was she was actually studying. In developing a research question, there is definitely a dance between the general and the specific. But in qualitative research, remember, we're not looking for statistical generalizabilities to large populations. We really have the luxury of being able to develop deeper understandings about smaller populations, and to develop sort of theoretical generalization, which is in qualitative research. We're often trying to generate theory that might then be applied to other situations. Especially in this course, in this pilot study, you're going to be interviewing a very small number of participants. And so, if you just say teacher in your research question, that includes a lot of people who have very different jobs. A kindergarten teacher and a high school chemistry teacher do not do the same thing all day, right? I have a very different job than a lot of my colleagues even in the College of Education, let alone in engineering. So if you're not specific enough in your question, you're not going to get necessarily a great answer with just a handful of participants. So that's something to think about as we move forward. Ultimately, for a bigger project, you might have a less narrow question. I also wanted to speak a little bit, again, because I'm not sure everyone saw my comment about sort of how I draw on my own experiences in this course. I don't see myself as a sage on a stage. I definitely try to be a guide on the side. As a researcher, I'm still growing myself and learning. And I would think, in my experience with other researchers who are further along in their careers, that everyone is. We're always looking for better methods. Or our answers just lead to more questions. When I was a GA, I learned to do interviews alongside my advisor, who is very, very quantitative. And so that was just an interesting experience of watching, all researchers kind of go through that growth, and that's kind of normal. And that research is always a journey for all of us, and it doesn't really ever end. It's always growing and changing along with the way we think, along with what we found, along with what other people have found, and how we integrate that into our thinking. And I want to normalize that research is challenging for everyone, right? Like, if this was easy, everyone would do it. But it's not that easy. It really takes a lot of thought and dedication and passion to carry you through this stuff. And so, I commend all of you for your energy so far in this course. I know it's quite different for some of you. And this week we will be getting a little bit more into the weeds on our study design, and we will also be starting to think about our literature reviews, and how we could use them to strategically build the foundation of our study. So not just kind of reviewing all the literature out there, you might start there, but really thinking about how you start to narrow it down to the specifics that build the foundation for your particular study. And you'll also be turning in your QRP Part 1, and that should be between 800 and 900 words. So far, I have not found anyone who has gone really over. That makes me concerned, but generally I find that if you have many fewer words, you may not be covering the ground at the level that it needs to be covered. So just something to think about. I don't count words unless, something looks a little short. I might jump in there and look. So that's it for me this week. I am looking forward to reading your positionality statements as well.